So, one of the things that I didn't get to really address or talk about in the limited time that I had for the Speakers Collaborative was really before you start saying no, how do you get there? I struggled with saying no because I did not know what my vision looked like. I had a vague idea of what I wanted my life to look like, things that I was interested in. And so I would say yes to things that sort of fit, but ultimately, when I drilled down and got down to it, were spinning me in directions that were not taking me towards where I wanted to go. And this is something that you can apply in your personal life as well as at work. Um, Brene Brown calls this. You can Google Brene Brown and painting done. She has a great quote on your vision and figuring out what done means. What does your vision look like? And so at work, you have goals that you're supposed to hit, and those goals are supposed to take the company to where the company ultimately wants to go. Well, it's the same way in your personal life. You have this end goal that you want to get to. For me, it was think about when I'm 80 and sitting in a rocking chair, hopefully with my significant other, my best friend. Um, when I look back, what do I want to feel? What emotion do I want to have? What do I want to have accomplished? And when I went through my process, in order to find that vision, I sat down and I wrote down a list of priorities. And then I took those priorities and I created a vision for where ultimately I wanted to go. Um, Setting that vision is vitally important in helping you to discern what to say no to. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in his book, Be Useful: 7 Tools for Life, it is one of my new favorites. If you haven't read it, listen to it on Audible because he reads it and he has the best voice inflections, and you can really hear some of the sarcasm and just hear his personality behind it. But in that book, he talks about setting a clear vision and he talks about really seeing it. So he talks about when he ran for governor, he visualized himself sitting at the desk. What would his desk look like? What would it feel like? And that feeling and that vision, that visual, helped him to make clearer, better decisions throughout the process as he ran for governor. He tells another story that I think is really interesting, that when he first went to Hollywood, he was offered certain roles and he actually turned them down, and people thought he was crazy because they're like, no, you need to get this role and that'll help get your foot in the door. And he said, no, but it's not, I want to be a leading man, and these roles are not leading man roles, and they're not going to help me get there. And ultimately it helped him hone his vision and hone where he put his time and his effort into trying to get that leading man role. So we really need to hone our vision. So I sat down and I visualized what it would look like when my painting was done. And then I went through a coaching program. I talked about it in the talk, Brilliant Balance, with Cheryl Ann Skolnicki. And it's a phenomenal coaching program. And in it, she has you do a time study and you look at every minute of the day. And I looked at my time study and I looked at my list of priorities that I had actually sitting there when I went through the program. I'd done these priorities a couple years before. And when I looked at the list of priorities and I looked at my time study, it was lopsided. It was completely upside down. And immediately a light bulb came on and I realized I have to say no to these things that are at the top of my time consuming list that are not on my priority list. And that was my first realization, and first really confident, these are the things I need to say no to. And so, I really think before you even get to the gracious no, before you even get to, having grace with yourself and how to say no, you first have to figure out what you're going to say no to. And so, really setting that vision is going to be top priority for doing that, to get to where you can prune your life from the clutter and prune out all those things that are distracting you from your painting, your done painting. We talk about this in business too. Most times I have found when I have bosses that have a clear picture of a vision of, here's where I want you to be. Here is, when you're finished, here's what it's going to look like. That is something you hear in business, in the organizational world, that sets you up for success, because you know what you're looking for, and you know that what you can say no to, because it's not going to get you to those goals. So you have to do that with your life too. And I think the two best ways to do that is to sit down and make your priority list. And really, when you sit down and make that priority list, really be honest with yourself. Back then when I started this process, I had a lot of, I want this. I want to be this person. And it wasn't actually what I wanted, but it was what I was told I should want, or what I maybe thought I should want. So it took a couple months for me to finally, I actually did 4 different drafts of my priority list. I made one and then I scratched stuff out, and it took me 4 months to get down to what it was. So make that priority list, do a time study, and then kind of measure the two against each other. And that's where I would suggest starting if you're trying to declutter your life.